Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of All Things Universal Orlando. Today we're going to be looking at the top 5 worst attractions at Islands of Adventure. Hey, before we get started, I want to remind you that I've partnered with a friend of mine, another YouTuber, That T-Cat, does animations. Check him out, and we're going to be doing a giveaway together, and it is Universal related, so you might want to go over to his page, check that out. Hey, like and subscribe that too. It's good stuff, it's animation, it's for everybody, fun stuff over there. So before I even get started with this, I feel compelled to say that I don't dislike any of these attractions. The 5 attractions that I'm going to give you are really pretty good. It's just I was going through thinking, what are my least favorite things to do at Islands? Islands has some of the best attractions that there are. So we're not talking exclusively rides necessarily. We are talking about attractions as well, shows, those kind of things. Anything that would be qualified as an attraction is going to qualify to be on this list of the top 5 worst things to do there. And maybe that's a harsh title because none of these things are bad. Like I said, they're all worth doing. I do them all every time I go to the park. But of all of the things they have at Islands, these 5 were the ones that I think are my least favorite. Maybe that's the way I should present it. So listen, if one of your favorites is on this list, don't get all bent out of shape. I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm just saying for me, it's in the bottom tier of what Islands has to offer. And Islands has a lot to offer. So I don't want to waste any more time. Let's get right to it.
Great Scott, number 5.
Number 5, Pteranodon Flyers. I know, it's a great ride. I agree with you. It's really good. It's exciting, gives you great views, it's up high, it's wide open, it's everything I like in a ride. Except the fact that I can never get on it. And it's not because there's a long wait, it's because you have to have a little kid to ride this thing. And somebody should make millions of dollars probably just renting a kid out, just charging $3 or $4 and hey, we'll stand by there, you can go on this ride with my kid. I mean, that'd be a great idea. There's a business venture for somebody. My guess is Universal wouldn't allow that, but in any event, that's why it's at number 5. I just can't ever ride it. There's never an opportunity. My kids are grown or teenagers. I don't get to ride this thing. And every time I walk by it, it's kind of like a poke in the eye. Like, here's this great ride. I'd like to think that the engineers could have done a better job of building something that maybe 2 adults can ride. Maybe that's not the problem. Maybe they just don't want that and they want to keep it available for kids. I don't know the reason. I don't care the reason. I know that I can't ride it. And that is why Pteranodon Flyers comes in at number 5 for me. Is it a great ride? Yeah, it's a great ride. I just can't ride it. And because of that, it's number 5. I think about the handful of times that I have ridden. I think 3 times that I've been on this ride. All 3 times I was thrilled. All 3 times it was great. It was worth the wait in line. It was worth the views that you got to see, and they are unique. You get to see out over everything. You can see Kong, and you can see the remainder of the Jurassic Park land. You can see out, you can see everything. It's just a phenomenal view. It's fun. It's a little short. It's not the longest ride in the world, but it's excellent, and I can't ride it. Because of that, number 5.
Number 4. Boop boop be doo boop.
Number 4 is the Karasu over in Seuss Landing. Now, again, I do this every time, and as far as carousels go, it's pretty good. It's not your typical horse and animals. It's got all the figures and characters that you'd find in a Dr. Seuss book, and that's pretty neat. And most of them move, with a lever and things like that. It's not a wildly popular ride that you have to wait long lines for. It has a large capacity, and it only runs a couple of minutes, if that. But at the end of the day, it's just a carousel. And it's not very big. It's kind of on the small scale as far as I'm concerned. And I don't need to talk a lot about this. Carousels are great, but I can ride a carousel at any boardwalk carnival I want. I can ride a carousel in the local mall. And so, yeah, maybe this one is themed better than your typical average carousel. But at the end of the day, it's just nothing special to me. And therefore, Karasu comes in at number 4.
3.5. Wait, 3 or 3.5?
Number 3, Fly to the Hippogriff. Probably some of you are upset with this. Don't be upset with it. I still think it's pretty fun. It's just really, really short, and it's really just a remake of the coaster, the Flying Unicorn, that it used to be before the Wizarding World was put in place, 10 years ago. In any event, they just rethemed it. The Buckbeak figure is pretty cool. The shape of your cart is pretty cool, but there's a forever long line to get on this ride that is very, very short and not overly thrilling. I suppose an argument could be made that we needed to have, or Universal needed to have, a kids-themed ride in the Wizarding World, and I can't argue with that, and I'm glad that it's there. But of all the things that there are to do in the Wizarding World, this is the one thing that I could pass and be okay with. With the implementation of Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, I'm not missing that. Forbidden Journey, I'm not missing that. In fact, I'd probably actually rather watch the Frog Choir show than go on Hippogriff. I don't know that I'd rather watch the Beauxbatons and Durmstrang show. That one's, you get what I'm saying. But Flight of the Hippogriff is really not much better to me. It's just a quick ride that you have to wait a long line in for. All in all, not worth it. You don't get any great views either. You get one pretty good view of Hogwarts there, but that's about it. And it happens so quickly that it's over and done with before you even realize it. Now we'll add that the cart in and of itself is uncomfortable for a grown-up. It's just not a comfortable cart for me to ride in. And when I'm being tossed about in a roller coaster like that, I'd rather be a little bit more comfortable. And those are the reasons that Flight of the Hippogriff is my third least favorite, or the third worst ride at Islands of Adventure.
Well, here's number 2.
Number 2, Storm Force Accelatron. Don't get me wrong, it's a teacup ride, and I like a teacup ride. But even at my age, if you go too fast or you do too much, you're going to get sick or you're going to get nauseous, but it's still fun, and we all do it anyways. And if you have kids, I don't even have kids, I have a teenager, and we go on and we do it every time, and it's fun. And as far as teacup rides go, it's fun. It's pretty much just like every teacup ride you've ever been on. But again, this is a ride you can find pretty much at any boardwalk carnival, anything like that. There's nothing really special about it. Even the theming of this is relatively lame. The story behind it is decent, and they've tied in the element of the X-Men to it, and that's good. But it's still just a teacup ride. It's a little long to me as far as teacup rides go, and perhaps they change the duration of time with the nature of how busy the park is. But after a while, I'm just tired of spinning, and if I'm not on it and other members of my family are on it, I'm tired of waiting. All in all, this is not a great ride. I don't think it's a high-end theme park ride. I think these are the kind of rides that we should find more at your lower tier theme parks. I'd like to see them completely do away with this and use the area, the property, for something else. I don't know what else. I don't care what else. But this is the one thing in Islands of Adventure that I don't think is all that great. And that's why it's at number 2. Well, before we get to number 1, I should tell you I don't have an honorable mention. I literally think everything else here is really, really good. But before we get to number 1, I want to count down the top 5 so far. Number 5, Pteranodon Flyers. I told you the reasons why. A great ride. If I could ride it every time, it'd probably be in my top 5 favorites. But because I can't ride it, it's not going to make it. It's number 5. Number 4 is the Karasu. Good ride, good carousel. Themed well, neat, fun, not too long, not too short. But at the end of the day, it's just a merry-go-round. I expect a little more. That's why it's number 4. Number 3, Flight of the Hippogriff. I've given you all the reasons. It's a fun kid roller coaster, but at the end of the day, it's really a kiddie coaster, and that's what it does. That's what it presents itself as. It doesn't try to be anything else, but that's what it is. But there's nothing special about it to me, and that's why it's at number 3. And number 2, well, I just told you about it. Storm Force Accelatron. Kind of like the Karasu, it's just another boardwalk kind of ride. It's a teacup ride, and I can do that in a lot of places. This one, no better, no worse than any other. That's why it's at number 2. So here it is.
Number 1!
If you haven't guessed, if you don't know already, the number 1 worst attraction at Islands of Adventure, Poseidons Fury. It's been there forever. I think it's an opening day attraction. It was cool maybe the first time you went through it or on it. It's a show. I don't even know how to describe it other than it's an interactive kind of show, but it's not really interactive. The only really cool part is when you walk under the they'll go through the tunnel of the water. That's about the only cool part. Other than that, you're standing. It's boring. It's not good. Frankly, it's just terrible, if I'm honest with you. It's the one thing where I think Universal's creative minds have really missed something. Maybe it was cool 30 years ago, but it's not cool anymore. It's not even relevant. It doesn't mean anything to anybody anymore. It's not popular. Best thing about it is the aesthetic of the outside. Probably one of the best themed areas of any theme park. Nothing really beats that aesthetic. But once you get inside the show, the attraction doesn't live up to what you're expecting walking in. It's just not good. Yes, they have a character actor, and yes, it provides a job for somebody, and I'm grateful for that, but it's just not a good show, not a good attraction. It is probably the one thing I don't do every time I've gone there because it's the same every single time. And at the end of the day, it's not enjoyable. It's 10-15 minutes that I could do something else. I could use that time waiting in line for something else. I'd rather do that than go see Poseidon's Fury another time. I think it's time for this one to go away, and I think it's time for your Islands of Adventure to do something different here. Will they? I don't know. Could they? Sure they could. Will they? Again, like I said, certainly, hopefully. But those are the reasons that Poseidon's Fury is the #1 worst attraction at Islands of Adventure. Hey, I want to thank you again for watching. The channel's growing, more and more subscribers every day, and I appreciate you guys doing it. Put your top 5 bottom rides at Islands of Adventure down in the comments below, and let's talk about why you agree or disagree with what I've come up with. So listen, have a great day. Go bless somebody else today, and watch what it does in your life.